Hi there, and thank you so much for joining this episode of Wind Down Wednesday. As scheduled and as promised, I am delivering these videos to you to keep you abreast of any tips that I can help you with as you develop your law practice. And today I wanted to just spend some time talking about strategy, not only in the business development space as it relates to building a law practice, but outside of that, looking at strategy across finances and looking at strategy as it relates to taxes, and using taxes and the tax law as they're written to help actually grow your business. I know that most businesses think about taxes and automatically they go to this negative space of, feeling very icky about even thinking about taxes and considering taxes. But I just wanted to highlight here that taxes actually can be used as a strategy to develop your business. If you are able to speak with somebody who is knowledgeable in that space and who understands how tax credits and different ways by which you can work within the law, of course, doing the things the legal way, but ensuring that you know that you're making good decisions that are within the law and that are legal. So I recently connected to one of our new strategic partners, and we got to talking about taxes and the different credits and the ways that taxes can be used to develop business. And one thing that we talked about, which I thought was so interesting, it was just right there under my nose this entire time, and I didn't know it because obviously I'm not a tax expert, but when he brought it up, I was like, that makes sense. What he talked about was that there are all these tax credits, yes, but in particular, one area that's being missed right now is that if a law firm, for example, decides to invest in some type of training of their employees on an actual technology, a platform, like an actual implementation of something into their business, and there's a charge attached to that. That has a tax credit attached to it in the state of Georgia. And of course, different states have different laws and different benefits and different, tax type written things that are on the state level that you have to look into and actually talk to a tax expert in your particular state. But this is just like an example of the way that you can actually use taxes to help you in your business, to help, develop your staff, to develop new software that's coming in, to invest money into actually getting your employees trained up on a program, like paying for it, and really understanding that there is a tax benefit to that you can actually get a tax credit for it, like I said, in Georgia. So I just wanted to highlight that here on this Wind Down Wednesday because, as we are developing our businesses in general, looking at how we can be strategic should be an overarching approach that we take in developing a business, instead of just going for it at the old traditional way, or just forking out money here and there, or avoiding paying for something because you're just seeing things as costs. You're not understanding that there is an actual strategy that could be applied that could actually work for you as a business owner. And if you're perhaps a senior level of staff, you can use these tools to help develop your individuals within the firm and be able to get a tax credit for it. So this is just one example here of a way that you can look at strategy outside of developing the business in the straight way that I talk about, which is in the business development and strategic space, but instead looking at tax strategy, because strategy is going to be something that you're going to have to apply not only as you develop the business overall, but in the different pieces of your business, different parts of your business, you're going to have to be strategic as well. And this happens to be one of those things that you can be strategic in the tax space with your business. So with that, I want to just thank you so much for joining this episode of Wind Down Wednesday. And I am also going to tag the tax professional that I recently connected to and just had a one-on-one with randomly, just to talk about taxes, just to talk about business, to connect, to network. And if you're in the state of Georgia and you want to connect to him, I'm gonna tag him in this post so that you're able to reach out to him, and perhaps maybe he could be a resource to you in your business. Thank you so much for joining this Wind Down Wednesday, and I'll see you in the next one.